Welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. My name is Michael LeBlanc, and I am your host. This podcast is produced in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. My guests on this episode are Tanya Bevington, Head of Communications for IKEA Canada, and Anthony Jovanathan, Chief Creative Officer at Edelman Canada. They discuss the insights and unique creative partnership behind IKEA Canada's clever and brilliant secondhand tax SHT is happening campaign. Let's listen in now. Tanya, Anthony, welcome to the latest episode of the Voice of Retail podcast. Tanya, how are you doing? It's not our first time chatting. It's great to hear your voice.
Oh, it's so great to be here, Michael, and always great to connect with you. Thank you very much for having me.
Fantastic. And Anthony, first time on the mic. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Now, Anthony, where am I finding you today?
I'm from Edelman, Canada. I started as an ECD on the global team. Then I had the opportunity to be on the creative team, and I joined as a Chief Creative Officer.
Wow.
Which I simply couldn't pass upon.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Canadian office has some of the amazing human beings, and I'm truly lucky and to be able to work with super talented crew.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, where are you located? Where's your office? Where am I reaching you right now?
Right now, we're at, actually, I'm in a studio recording for a case study. So I'm not even actually at the office right now.
And that's in Toronto? Where is that?
Yeah, in Toronto, Canada.
All right. And Tanya, you're in Burlington, right? Are you coming to me live from Burlington?
I am coming to you live from Burlington. Actually, on top of the Burlington store. So our service office, our national service office, is located here in Burlington.
All right, fantastic. Well, I can tell you, I saw a lot of big blue stores on my tour of Texas, and driving through, they stood out in the background. In fact, I want to talk to you this a little later. I saw there's a place in Austin where you're starting up one of your new format stores. So maybe we'll talk about that a little later. Tanya, why don't we start off with you? Tell me who you are, what you do for a living, and a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. Definitely, and always great to talk about some of our new format stores. So look forward to that in a moment. But I'm Tanya Bevington. I'm Head of Communications for IKEA Canada, and my background's communications and marketing for over 20 years now. I'm getting up there, and I've been actually at IKEA for 10 years now. I'm celebrating 10 years this May, which has been unbelievable. It's gone by super quickly.
Now, do you get like a watch for that, or a bookcase? What do you get for 10 years?
I get an Allen key and an IKEA ring, actually.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Those things
We're
are pretty.
Looking forward to that.
Those things are pretty useful. Now, did you always want to be in communications? Was that a career of choice, or sometimes retail has been described as the accidental career? How did you find yourself in retail communications?
Absolutely. Well, my heart is always in retail. That I started working my first job at 14, working in retail, and was always my go-to career choice and path, certainly through high school and university. But then did move into communications and worked in the public sector for a bit, but then had the opportunity to move over to IKEA in 2014. And again, it was combining my passion for communications, but my passion for retail, and certainly a brand like IKEA being passionate about doing, wanting to have that broader impact in society and working for a purpose-led brand. So that has been a full circle moment for me, being able to combine all those passions in area.
Now, there's no one listening to this who wouldn't know IKEA, but for some of my international listeners, how many stores and what's the scope and scale in Canada for IKEA?
We are 47 years in Canada. So in 2026, we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary, which is pretty fantastic. And we're a small but mighty footprint. So we have 16 stores across Canada from coast to coast. And 2 of those stores are our newer format. We call them extra small stores, just again, bringing the concept closer to where Canadians are. And we have 7,200 coworkers across Canada, but we are a global company. So we have over 400 locations in more than 52 countries. So we truly are that global brand.
Anthony, you've already told us a little bit about yourself and your role as looking after creative for Edelman. Tell us a little bit about Edelman.
Yeah, Edelman is, I got to be honest, like extremely happy and excited to be part of this, I guess, the PR firm. We are one of the largest, we are actually the largest PR agency in the world. The best part is we get to work with so many different disciplines within Edelman. And every day when I go to work, I'm just over the moon because I get the opportunity to work with amazing humans to do the best work of our lives.
Fantastic. Best work of your lives. What else can you ask for, right? So let's talk about how you two organizations work together, some of the dynamics and I think some of the tradecraft. How did this partnership come together for this campaign specifically? Because I'm always very curious about what the origin or the genesis. Was it a spark of inspiration? Was it something that was presented or something that maybe, Tanya, you said, hey, we've got this idea, but it's not fleshed out. Tanya, take us through how this all got started.
Absolutely. And it's been fantastic. We've been working with Edelman for about a year now. So obviously globally, we work with Edelman too. So it was we knew Edelman from working globally. And I had a global assignment last year where I got to see the great work of Edelman. So it was fantastic to start working with them in Canada as well. So when we first started working together, we came to them with this idea that we had been presented in past about a PA insight really around the double taxation of secondhand goods. And, as soon as I heard the idea or was brought to my attention, I thought, there's something here, not sure what yet, but this idea. And I feel like IKEA as a brand who likes to side with the many, as we say, or the many Canadians, how can we advocate for Canadians when we look at affordability and living more sustainably and showing our leadership in that space? It felt like the right kind of idea that we would want to get behind, but at that point, it was truly just an idea. So then, speaking with Anthony and team, and I'll turn it over to him to take it from Edelman's perspective. But of course, then they came back to us with this, amazing campaign that was so twinkle of the eye and so connected to our brand as IKEA. So I'll turn it over to you, Anthony.
Yeah. Again, like the genesis of the idea, idea is when we were working and developing IKEA global, meaningful, affordable platform here in Canada. It was truly because, as you know, Canada is currently experiencing affordable crisis, and that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. So we found out many Canadians were turning to secondhand economy to stretch every single dollar. So we came together to think about how could we get rid of some of the barriers to circular shopping, and double tax was one of them. The insight, secondhand items may lose the original look, packaging, and prices and value, but they never lose the tax. So every time a secondhand item is sold, it's taxed one more time. So we thought, perfect way to launch this is on the Earth Month. Was an opportunity to create awareness and change, surrounding a little known issue because nobody really knew about this. It was a perfect opportunity for IKEA to double down and communicate the sustainable and meaningful and affordability.
So, Tanya, when you think about this and fleshing it out, I love what Anthony said about a platform of affordability, because I've seen you do several initiatives that are in and around this issue. It's so well connected to the DNA of the organization. So it's a great fit. But you have taken it to another level. So when you look at a program like this, how do you make it live? And right now it lives as a campaign. And talk about how you make it live within the four walls of IKEA.
Absolutely. And I think to take a step back, when it comes to affordability, like Anthony said, it's this concept of meaningful affordability. We don't want to be known as just an affordable retailer. It's affordability with a meaning. So, a lot of the work that we do is to really bring that notion to life. So it's this idea of, value as in value for time, value for money from a consumer perspective, but also values connected with values in terms of how we operate our business. So customers and coworkers can feel good about, when it comes to shopping and working with us. So that for us has really been an important milestone to really bring together this idea. So then we've been looking throughout the year, how do we, walk the talk, so to speak, when it comes to that. So, we in January made an investment for reducing over 1,500 products, so an $80 million investment to, when Canadians need it most. We know everyone's feeling stretched right now. No matter your wallet size, we're all having to do more with less. So that was one way that we could really add that value for our Canadian consumers. And then when it comes to the secondhand tax initiative, again, how do we show up in a really meaningful and relevant way? So as Anthony noted, more and more Canadians are looking at secondhand, from a financial reason, but also, of course, how do we become more circular and, what's the future for Canada from a sustainability perspective? So we thought, how great would it be to really have that full 360 lens when it came to this campaign? For us, it wasn't just about a performative PR activation, but how could this really grow legs? And like you said, throughout the organization. So, working with Edelman, we really came up with that 360 lens. So it was, what is the activation in store? We know that 28 million Canadians visit our stores each year. So, what a great platform to engage Canadians on some of the larger societal topics that we want to go after. So as part of that, we wanted to do, it's called essentially the Secondhand Tax Initiative. And what it is, it's a counter tax to save Canadians the tax that they're paying on secondhand items, the HST. So at 13% off, we did focus on Ontario as our largest market right now to test it, to see if there would be interest and appetite from Canadian consumers. So for a 2-week period, the first 2 weeks of April to kickstart Earth Month, we launched this 13% initiative, but we wanted to make sure that it lived beyond that as well too. So how do we engage government to really make meaningful change? We launched a petition on change.org to see if Canadians were also passionate about this topic. How could we, really ignite a movement, if you will? And so that's been incredible. Over 35,000 signatures to date, which has been fantastic. And we continue to drum up awareness about this. And again, for us, it was, really three-pronged. It was creating awareness on this topic because a lot of people just haven't really thought about it. And when you think about it, you're like, this is unjust and unfair. And then obviously sparking dialogue and hopefully meaningful change. So that was one piece of it. Anthony, I don't know if you want to jump in and then I can go into some of the other aspects too. So.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony, I'm really curious from your perspective. I mean, Tanya's done a great job of hitting, let's hit the numbers. What are the metrics? And I guess from your perspective, you'd also be thinking about brand regard and recognition metrics as well, right? As addition to the commercial metrics, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. And maybe Tanya, you can speak to better about the metrics of that, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. So in addition to, we also wanted to make sure that for us, brand trust is really important and that we know when we take these societal topics, we see, the increase in brand trust. Mm-hmm. Certainly we look at visitation, sales, all of those things. So as part of the campaign, in addition to the in-store activation, the PA outreach, there was a big PR outreach as well too. So we engaged a lot with media for that earned media potential. Was thrilled to see over 100 pieces of news coverage from our article and 54 million impressions from the activation, which was fantastic.
101. You got this podcast coming out.
Yes, thank you. 101.
We'll take it over the top. We're going to take it over the top together, Tanya.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate that. And so that's been great. Coworker engagement too. It's been really interesting to see our coworkers get behind this movement as well too and be passionate. Certainly our global colleagues are, asking, share all your assets, share the case study. This is something that could resonate in other markets. I know even in Sweden, they're looking at secondhand tax in general as a society so I think there's an opportunity for perhaps, IKEA and some other places to take this topic on as well too. So it's been really interesting to see the feedback because, this is the first time that we're doing this type of campaign where, obviously we always do 360 campaigns, but doing something that we absolutely believe can have that societal benefit and really making Canadians' lives better at a time when they need it most. And certainly any relief when it comes to taxes and putting more money back in Canadians' pockets, for us was an obvious choice to move forward with this campaign.
Yeah.
And Anthony, how have your colleagues been reacting around the world? You're a big global company, and I'm sure best practices are a very important part of your role, right? Sharing and and consuming best practices around the world.
To go off of Tanya, like SHT had the industry like really talk about it. Personally, I had so many of my peers reaching out to me. Like my LinkedIn profile is like, it just
blowing up. It's blowing up.
Blown up, and talking about how game changing this idea is, and how it's inspiring everybody. It's a simple solution like SHT can change the way Canadians can shop, and it's the best of the both world, which is sustainability and meaningful affordability.
And we loved the twinkle in the eye when Edelman came back to us with SHT. We thought, oh, this is cheeky. It'll get people's attention. So, we did.
It's on brand for you guys. Yeah, it's on brand.
Exactly, on brand for us. So we thought, oh, we can have some fun here. But again, also showing that, bringing awareness, really sparking conversation, and hopefully that meaningful change. So we did soft sound a little bit. We wanted to make sure that we rolled it out when it made sense. So Earth Month was a fantastic opportunity for us to get it in market when sustainability was more so on people's minds as well too. And it was fun. We did a little bit of a risk assessment too. Okay, SHT, but people have been thrilled with it. And even nationally, other markets across Canada are saying, can we do it in our market as well too? So
that's fun.
So it's a nice creative way to bring together what maybe would have just been a public affairs insight to life and really have that consumer extension.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, I've had Selwyn on the podcast before, president, CEO, and I think he's chief sustainability officer as well. How did he react to the idea of the campaign? He's new in the business and he's a very dynamic individual. What was his first reaction to this campaign?
I have to say he's had so he's my direct manager, as I do sit on the management team as well too. So I brought him this idea when he was very new into the business, and he had full trust. Of course, he said just make sure that you do the research, that we're not catching anyone off guard. So that's why it was really important. So in the few months leading up to when we knew we were going to launch the campaign, we were talking to businesses that are in the secondhand space, talking with government, soft seeding the idea. And the more and more people we talked to, we just knew we were onto something. And, for him too, he wants us to really take a stand and, push the team to get out there more, talking about our sustainability messages, because we are a leader in sustainability, and, we need more people knowing some of the great work that's already happening that maybe not every Canadian knows about. So if we could lend our voice to this and help with meaningful change. So he's been super supportive and been a great ambassador of this campaign from day one for us.
Anthony, from your tradecraft perspective, did you learn anything in this process? I mean, this has been it's not an overnight process, and this back and forth with a great client like IKEA. What learnings did you take away other than the fact that everybody, as I'm sure if you're in advertising, people go, just create me a viral video. How hard can that be? How hard can it be to create a great idea like this and make it live? So any lessons learned that you'd want to share with the folks?
I think my biggest learning is when you have amazing humans like Tanya. I mean, I'm going to be honest, and Lisa and everybody at IKEA. I mean, one thing that I really absolutely loved, and we could have never made this campaign work, is the trust and the partnership. Mm-hmm. When we are together, we can bounce off ideas, we can work together to get to the common goal. So to whoever's listening, if you ever guys want to do an incredible campaign that you're proud of, you need to work together as one. And that's something that I am really thankful and grateful to have partnership with Tanya and Lisa and everybody else at IKEA to get to this type of work. As what Tanya said, you need to do something that is very sticky, memorable, shareable. And we thought that SHT was a collaborative effort that was born because we worked together as one team.
All right, fantastic. Now, Tanya, I can't have you on the mic without talking a little bit of retail. So off the top, I was saying I was in Dallas, and there's this massive shopping, life, living hotel district called the Domain in Austin. And they're trying to, it's not new. It's been around for quite a while. They're trying to create like a second downtown. And lo and behold, what do I stumble over is it looks like a new IKEA format, a design store. Talk a little bit about that and what the thinking is behind the great big, the traditional blue boxes for IKEA.
Absolutely. And that's exactly it. We are, obviously we see the consumer shopping behavior changing so much, and we want to make sure that we are also evolving with the changing needs of our consumers. So we are absolutely testing different types of formats to bring our product offering closer to where, our consumers and residents are living. So the design studio concept, and we have 8 of them here in Canada as well too. And it's really great because we know that our traditional model, cash and carry, you do a little, we do a little, you come to the store, buy your products, and then assemble them at home. We know not everyone has the time or the desire to do that. So we really want to make sure that we're offering a full service offering. So in this case, the design studios are a really great way to bring the product closer to where consumers are, as I mentioned, and also offering a full service planning for some of the bigger projects like kitchens, like PAX wardrobes, like bathrooms in the future as well too. So really having that customized need for individuals where they can plan their whole dream kitchen with us, and then we will help to build it and assemble it for them. So we're doing things like that more, and those have been, consumers have been responding really well because again, we're bringing the brand closer to where they are. And then we also have formats like our excess small shop format, in, for example, Scarborough Town Center, where again, we're bringing the product offering closer to where our consumers are. So people are really appreciating that. And we're trying to offer as many services as possible to really be flexible with the needs of our consumer.
Well, that's great. Now, Tanya, where can folks go to learn more if they want to find the design? There's several of them in Canada. Where do folks go to learn more about IKEA? What's the best way to get in touch?
Definitely visiting our website at IKEA.ca. You'll see we have more than 10,000 products that you can see, all sorts of solutions available, and certainly all the different ways that Canadians can meet us. Because in addition to that, we have a bunch of collection points bringing, for example, if you're in Regina area, you can get product delivered closer to where you are, even though we don't have a physical presence there. We have collection point, things like that. So on our website, you can see all the ways to interact and shop with us.
Selwyn will be live on the stage coming up at Retail Council of Canada's store conference in May. So if anyone is who's listening, run, don't walk to go get tickets for the store conference. Anthony, where can folks go to learn more about you and Edelman?
Edelman.ca. And on the website, you'll see a lot of our work that we're really proud of. Mm-hmm. And that's where you can find me and what we do at Edelman.
It sounds like your LinkedIn's blowing up a bit. So you're a LinkedIn person as well, right?
Exactly. And also on LinkedIn, you can find myself, Anthony Chalvanathan.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put links in the show notes. Listen, Tanya and Anthony, thanks so much for joining me on the mic for the Horse Retail Podcast. It was great. It was a great campaign. It was a great campaign and very creative. And to hear the backstory and the tradecraft of the collaboration was a ton of fun. So thank you both for joining me on the mic.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's definitely been so great to have the reaction to this campaign that we have had. A big thank you to Edelman for, just really bringing an idea to life for us and, make it have that kind of viral response. And we continue to engage on the topic. This is not the end of it. We will be working behind the scenes to really do all we can to make that meaningful change for the Canadian consumer.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, follow on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically each week. And be sure and check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast with Steve Dennis and the Global E-Commerce Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Michael LeBlanc, Senior Retail Advisor, Keynote Speaker. If you want more content or chat, follow me on LinkedIn. Safe travels, everyone.